Hello, everyone. This is Ramses Gallego, Chief International Officer with CyberRes, a micro-focus line of business, and I'm representing IE University. Welcome to a session that will talk about reimagining cyber resiliency and mitigating workforce risk. In the next 15 minutes, I'm going to talk about a journey that is about resiliency. Well, resiliency, the dictionary says, is the capacity to endure, the capacity to resist. And in these very challenging, difficult times, it is super important not just to identify threats, assess threats, protect from threats, and yes to all of that, but the journey into cyber resiliency and how to mitigate, how to reduce the exposure of that workforce risk is about the following words, ladies and gentlemen: anticipating, withstanding, recovering, and evolving. Let me repeat: anticipating threats, not just identifying them, but understanding and communicating with our workforce and asking the questions. How do you feel? How can I help you? How are you feeling? In these very troubled pandemic COVID-19 times, I'm here sitting in Barcelona, Spain, and I have been sitting here for the past 16 months. I was on a plane every single day of my life when the skies were open, but now look at us, which brings benefits, don't get me wrong, but the hazards of a remote workforce, they open the door for people that are burned, that for fraud, for challenges that represent a problem or might imply a problem for our companies and societies at large. So I'm inviting you to ask the right questions to the right people at the right time. And those questions are about, again, anticipating threats, withstanding, recovering, and evolving. It is important to have a program, to approach it in a programmatic way. How to mitigate and reduce the exposure of this workforce risk is about governing the program, responding to threats, having programs and again in an organized, orchestrated way, how to reduce those problems. And that will happen with communication. Actually, let me ask you, and I'm looking straight into the camera when I'm saying this, how many of you have a crisis management program in place? Meaning, crisis management is that the moment to help is before it happens, not when it's already happening or it has happened. Of course, I appreciate that, but the moment to help is before it happens. So how many of you have a crisis management program? When a crisis appears, do you know who's going to go on public record from your company, to go on television, on radio, dealing with the media? Well, if the answer is yes, fantastic. Keep it up and test it, by the way. Test it, because not the new normal, but the next normal is going to happen. Now it's COVID-19, but the world changes at the speed of light. And as I was preparing this quick session for you, I was thinking on the perfect storm. The perfect storm when different variables combine just to aggravate a situation drastically. Well, we will solve these situations, in plural, by asking the right questions to the right people at the right time. We will reduce the workforce risk by understanding risk. By understanding that risk is inherent in life. Risk exists when we cross the street, when we buy goods. Risk is inherent in life. As a consequence, you need a way to identify the risk, to govern the risk, to respond to the risk. And again, into the journey of resiliency, the capacity to endure. Of course, technology will certainly help. In an epoch where we employees, we citizens, we families, we are abroad, we are unfortunately not being able to connect. And I absolutely celebrate and applaud that the world looks like it's start to open again, which I happily celebrate. But still, technology will help on not just not by embracing digital transformation or digital disruption, if you want to call it. No. The world will we will solve the equation of risk and mitigating the workforce risk by using radical innovation. Radical innovation. We will solve this perfect storm epoch. We will enable and nurture this remote generation, as I call it, the cloud generation or the remote generation. We will solve it with a radical innovation approach. And the radical innovation approach, look at people's eyes. In the very same way that I'm looking now straight into the camera, well, look into people's eyes. Let them know that you care. Let them know that you have a programmatic way and you are able to connect the dots, that you understand the journey they are in. Actually, I'm addressing you executives of the world, you CISO, CTO, chief marketing officers, compliance managers, risk officers. Well, actually, I'm addressing you all, every employee in the house, every citizen, government, education, healthcare, telco. Well, you need to show tone at the top. You need to show that mitigation of workforce risk, that you understand the challenges and the hazards of this remote generation. And because of that, you have a programmatic way to solve the equation of what I called ERM, Enterprise Risk Management. ERM, Enterprise Risk Management. And of course, enterprise risk management is about different things, fraud detection, public image risk, credit risk. There are many risks. One, information technology, which is my line of work, and that's what I teach at IE University, and that's my line of work as International Chief Technology Officer for Cyber Res, a micro-focused line of business. But risk at the core of what any company or society at large does. And that ERM, Enterprise Risk Management, has to be, and when I was preparing this presentation for you, with you, through you, I was thinking on, I couldn't help it, but I was thinking on architecture, how we build things. We are talking about building the right things rightly, aren't we? We are talking about doing the right things rightly. When the adverb comes in, rightly, it changes different things at the right cost, at the right speed, at the right time. So in this architectural thinking, because I was thinking on building, I like a lot civil engineering. I like how buildings and sports arenas are built, etc. So I was thinking that we need a flexible approach. I mean, the way you design a house, you design a building, in the very same way, you need to design your program, how to mitigate, reduce the exposure, how to enable or nurture the right communication at the right time, how to let them know that you care, how to let them know that you know, how to let them know that you know. So it has to be with a good design, beautiful, I would say, in nature, right? If I may say. But at the very same time, it has to be flexible, like, sign of the times, like this fluid epoch, this liquid epoch, right? I like it when the Jewish philosopher talk about liquid times, the liquid life. Okay, so your approach has to be liquid, flexible, has to be not only connected, look at my hands, not just connected, but integrated within the fabrics of the culture. And of course, when I was preparing the session, that came into my mind: culture, structure, and strategy. What is the culture of your company in order to mitigate workforce risk? What is the structure of the company? Who reports to whom in these very remote, difficult, afar times? Culture, structure, and then strategy. But when I talk about culture, structure, and strategy, when I talk about how to mitigate this workforce risk, I talk about tactics as well. Okay, strategy and tactics. And for that, if I may use my metaphor of chess, my chess metaphor. My chess metaphor is, that the game of chess is great. I mean, you have a defined, territory, a defined board game with 64 squares. You have blacks and whites, which basically is your competition, your marketplaces, the world, if you will, the globalized arena that we live in, all right? But at the end of the day, you win by you succeed in the game of chess by doing checkmate to the king, by killing the king, correct? So you need to protect the king. But for that, you have different assets. Well, mitigating the workforce risk and enabling resiliency or resilience, the capacity to endure, that is not different, right? So chess is about, if business is king, if the employee is king, if we need to protect the king, well, listen, the queen is risk. The queen is privacy. The queen is compliance. The queen is communications. That is super important. And in the 3 minutes or so that I have left, I'm already seeing a couple of questions in the chat. So I will see how we deal with that. But in the 5 minutes or 3 minutes that I have left, because we started a little late, but I want to be respectful with the agenda, I want to mention as well that about when I was preparing this session, the genes, I'm talking about the DNA, guys. Yes, the genes of the next gen. I'm addressing you today, which is an honor, and thank you for inviting me, is about the genes of the next generation, this remote generation, cloud generation, okay. The genes of the next gen, and follow me very closely because, yes, I'm going to play with words. For the next generation, sessions like this one and the others, I have been attending part of the day, the agenda is second to none: artificial intelligence, resiliency, workforce, amazing. All right, for this generation, sessions and events like this one allow you to be even more intelligent, even more generous. Actually, you can be a genarch, which is the head of the pack. You can be an agent of change. An agent of change, yes. But most importantly, ladies and gentlemen, you can become a legend. A legend. Who doesn't want to become a legend? In this, the perfect storm scenario, in this very ecosystem of things that are happening, and again, yes, I'm going to play with words, in this very ecosystem, we need to understand, and we have the unique opportunity to mitigate the workforce risk. In this ecosystem, we can be systematic and systemic. Let me repeat, systematic, using the right processes and procedures, and then guidelines, and then tactics, as I was saying, right, with my metaphor of chess. So from an ecosystem that is globalized, that is universal in nature, we have the unique opportunity from an ecosystem to be systematic and then systemic. Systemic means that mitigating the workforce risk and building resiliency, the capacity to endure, belongs to something greater, belongs to a system, belongs to an overarching umbrella. And the overarching umbrella, in the minute that I have left, because I'm already seeing questions in the chat, in this overarching umbrella, let me tell you about the 3 V's of change. The 3 V's of change are the following: the velocity of change, the variety of change, and the volume of change. Let me say it again, because for risk management, or should I say risk governance, but for risk governance, this is critical. Understanding the velocity of change, the variety of change, and the volume of change. Everything goes very fast these days. The velocity of change, the variety of change, how many things are happening in every different geography, every different industry, retail, telco, government, education, healthcare. So the variety, the velocity, and then the volume of change. What is happening, especially in my line of work, again, as a teacher, as a professor of IU University, and as International Chief Technology Officer for CyberRest, we deal with massive amounts of information. We call it data lakes. And there are different sessions today about artificial intelligence and quantum computing and machine learning, correct? So velocity, variety, and the volume of change. I'm going to finish with the following, but as you can see, I can go on and on for hours because I'm passionate about the topic of people, the workforce, and risk mitigation. Because what we are talking here today is business first, business first, business first. And when you finish, business first. So I mentioned the 3 V's of change. I'm going to finish with the following. Velocity, variety, and volume of change are not completed without the 4th V. The 4th V is the value of changing. The value of doing different things differently, and especially on mitigating workforce risk. Remember, has to be flexible, integrated with the right design. And as Plautus, that was an author of of ancient times, Plautus said in Latin, homo homini lupus est. Man is a wolf to man. We need to change that. We need to get rid of that. That's past. Man is a wolf to man. It's in our hands to do good and to do bad. Which side are you on? In which side are you? Homo homini lupus est. Man is a wolf to man. My last sentence and my last quote, and then I'm going to read a couple of questions in the chat. Very important. I'm sitting here in Barcelona. You know that the architect of my fantastic hometown and city, Antonio Gaudí, the architect of one of the most famous landmarks in my city, he left us with very beautiful buildings. And again, I'm very keen on architecture and civil engineering. He left us with this very important quote, and I'm going to leave you before the chat with this very important quote. If you want to be original, so the guy was obsessed with security, with people, with going back to nature, going back to the roots, to the origin. So his quote is the following, ladies and gentlemen. Originality consists in returning to the origin. If you want to be original, that's about going back to the start. And at the start there was people, us, communication, respect, understanding that we are all, we have lost loved ones, that we're suffering. So mitigating the different workforce risks is about that. I can go on and on for hours, but I'm seeing Dia on camera. So thank you for having me, and let's see how we are dealing with the question. It was an honor to present with you today. Thanks for the invitation. How are we going to do with the questions? Thank you very much.
Well, it was amazing, Ramses. Thank you so much.
Pleasure.
I actually had a lot of notes, culture, strategy, the CVs, the Gs of the next gen. Amazing. Absolutely amazing.
Thank you.
I wanted you to repeat one thing. You said like there are 4 steps. The first is anticipating.
The
next
anticipate. Yeah, thank you. Yeah, anticipate. That's the definition of resiliency or resilience. Anticipate threats, withstand, the capacity to withstand, to resist, to endure. Okay, very important. This third one, I love it. Recover whatever happened, and of course in the light of COVID-19, and I say with massive respect for the ones we lost, but recover, going out from the hospital, right? And then the fourth step, which is evolving, being the best version of ourselves. So not just anticipating threats, withstanding threats, then recovering, and then what's next? Next is the best version of ourselves as societies, employers, employees. And when you invite me to mitigating workforce risk, is look into people's eyes, as I'm doing with the camera now, and evolve to the best version of yourself, the best employer, society, government, employee that you can be. Back to you.
Brilliant. Thank you, Ramses. Yeah. Okay, so let's take the first question. What is needed to put together a crisis management plan in place?
Okay, very rapidly, because I know we only have 3 minutes. I mean, understand who's going to go on public record. Have a programmatic way to identify threats, anticipate threats. But if it happens, which is bad, let me say it again, which is bad, okay? But if it happens, who gets, with your official dress or your tie or whatever, who goes on public record? To say what? To who? Just to your stakeholders, shareholders, customers? You need to close your eyes and understand that, you government or you corporations of the world, you are here for a reason. You serve people or citizens. So very rapidly, and of course I can talk for hours on only that question, right? But get a programmatic way on who's going to go on public record, to say what, for how long, how deep we are investigating. Show respect for your stakeholders and shareholders, both of them. Back to you.
Great. Another one is, how do you identify the risks that are facing your workforce, and where do we start?
Well, thanks for the question. There are many ways, of course. Ask them, do a survey, investigate, talk to them. I'm assuming that whoever asked the question, you have a structure, a hierarchy in place. You have managers and first line managers. I'm assuming that you guys have human resources or a people's department. So use the channels and use technology. By the way, I'm a technologist. So use technology to your advantage. So it shouldn't be an excuse that, oh, that's difficult. Oh, come on, really? Is that an answer? Oh, you know, that people are sitting in their homes. It's difficult. They are far. They don't go back to the office probably never again, right? And then with all due respect, I have to say, excuse me, so what? I mean, use the technology, use the channels, HR department, managers, that would be my super quick answer to that. But you do it. Whatever you do something. Back to you.
Start, yeah. The last question is,
okay.
I think that all the questions are revolving around, because this has been very insightful, but people want to know how to start. So the question is, do you have a framework for ERM?
Well,
risk management, right?
Exactly. Thank you, Dia. And very rapidly, because I know that I want to show respect for you with the agenda, with everybody, and I know that you have a packed agenda, but very rapidly, I have probably 30 seconds. The answer is yes. Actually, in the university, in IE University, and when I teach, I mean, ERM is actually a subject. Again, ERM, Enterprise Risk Management, is an overarching umbrella. It has, you know, IT risk, credit risk, public image risk, and the question was, is there a framework? Yes. I mean, do you have policies, procedures, guidelines, standards? Is it a subject that is taught in universities? The answer is yes. Actually, I do that, and it's an honor. So to the question, and again, I do it very rapidly because I know that we need to close. But the answer is a big yes. By the way, and you know me, Dia, as a takeaway of this session, connect with me on Twitter, on LinkedIn. I always respond to emails, sometimes in longer fashion, sometimes just 3 bullets because I'm super busy. But it shows respect, as I was saying, to you guys. So connect with me, and all of the questions that you have. Hey, Ramses, what do you think of this? How can you help me on that? Again, sometimes longer, sometimes shorter, but I always go back to you. It was a pleasure to present with you, and thanks for the kind invitation, Dia. Back to you. Thank you very much.
The pleasure is all ours. Thank you so much. You gave us so much energy to finish with also.
That's my job. Thanks for having me. Thank you.